Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm just going to talk about some of the thoughts I have. Not all of them. I'm still a little bit shocked by the killing of the murder of George Floyd. And maybe many of you have been watching the news and know more about it, what you've seen on the news. My views really, like I've said before, I'm an independent. I don't let anybody, tell me how I have to think about stuff. But my personal views, many of them are reflected, you can see, on CNN, MSNBC. Yeah, either one of those. I was up late last night watching the protests, and yeah, I'm still a little bit shocked about it. What was, the whole thing from that he was actually killed, and that was horrendous by that police officer, that cop. And today is May 29, 2020, to give an idea. Yeah, anyway, today is the day that they determined that he should be charged, and the cop, for murder. Yeah. Okay, once again, I'm not sounding quite awake, and that's because I was up until like 1 o'clock, I don't know, maybe around 1 o'clock, and then watching this, and then fell asleep and woke up around 5. Today is later in the day, it's 4:50 p.m., and I just woke up from a nap. Yeah. But yeah, I watched it. When I woke up this morning, the CNN, one of their news crews was there, and they were getting arrested. The first one was getting arrested at that time. And I woke up seeing that, and I'm like, man, that horrendous murder, and then with so with that, so much going on already. But then, this is something we should not be seeing this day and age. But I'm 56 years old. I'll be 57 soon, next month, and not too long from now, actually a week or so. And in my lifetime, I've seen it repeatedly. Okay, these kinds of things, and I've heard about these kinds of things. Just the poor treatment of African Americans or Africans in the United States, and it's not only just in the United States, of course. But yeah, I live in the United States. I live in Texas, and I hear this, and this is just horrible. But yeah, we have had a return to these kinds of things, I feel. It seems like they were, or at least we weren't hearing about them as much, maybe, these things going on. But we've just had a return to that, and the sexism, the ageism, classism, yeah. Sexism. Did I say that? Did I say them all? That's not all of them. Just a return to them, yeah. And it's like you get progress, and then so much I could say right now. So much I'm holding myself back from saying. But do I really need to say it? Don't we all understand what the ignorance breeds? Don't we understand this? And yeah, you can combat it for a while, but then you've got a bunch of I don't know, I'm really saddened by it. I just to see this kind of thing happening. And then they were saying on CNN, I think it was CNN, that the news crew, one of them, I think it may have, the one I saw seemed African American, and they said that later on, African American. I don't apply any kind of ethnicity to somebody that I don't know, and you can be mistaken, but they said it on I think it was CNN. And what a poor choice! I think that's what they said. It was such a poor choice. With everything going on, they've apologized for it. Adam, was telling me he watched more of it. Say, from that point, I was busy doing other things, but he was talking about, how bad, how much they were apologizing, the police, for arresting that news crew. But do you really think about what was going, why they were there, and then to arrest? Yeah, I mean, this, really, like I said, I'm not awake yet enough, and I'm quite a bit shocked by by all this, and just to watch that, and I told Adam over and over again that I can't watch this anymore. It hurt me too much to see this man, treated that way, not by just one cop, but they've had other clips come in, and you can see it was more, police officers that were assisting and seeing this person's life taken away from him. And you see it, you can see it if you watch news over and over again, and it was just really hard to take. I mean, can you imagine how his family and people who know him, and everybody, anybody with any conscience, anybody with any heart, soul, anything, any empathy, yeah, any care, any love, people who are real and people who aren't sociopaths or some cluster B or some abusive or whatever, that they couldn't see it. Yeah. I mean, all of us feel, and that poor man lost his life. For what? They said he wasn't doing anything. And it doesn't matter if he was. That's no way. That's not a police officer's job, is to do what they were doing. He was, from what I've heard, he was already handcuffed. He was on the ground. He couldn't do anything. It's just such a shame. It's this kind of thing still goes on these days. Okay, and why do I say these days? It should never have been. Okay, never have happened this way at all. And people should not be judged by their ethnic group at all, ever. But the reason I say that these days is because you feel like as time goes by and your life goes by, that people will learn. People will grow and develop. The humans will grow and develop, and you pass on to each generation more and more awareness, and they become more enlightened and less ignorant. But no, you still have ignorant, and ignorant breeds ignorance. And not everybody who's born by born and raised by people who are ignorant will be this way. But some people, they just can't shake it. They just can't shake what they were taught and think. And I'm afraid that's what we have more these days, that are the voices that you hear speaking out. And many of them are rather popular, like, on any kind of social media. The voices that are pure ignorance are the loudest ones these days. That's my experience. I could be wrong. Others might have a different experience. Like I've said before, I'm sick of tired of everything. Anything that seems recommended to me is somebody whose voice comes out of their mouth is quite ignorant. What is it? Is that just, yeah, think about it. Okay, but as a sociologist, you can imagine I have my master's degree in sociology, taught at college and university. I am so sick of seeing this stuff. I've been sick of seeing this stuff when I was a kid at IES, because of where I grew up and where I've lived since then, many different places, many different states, and not all of them. That doesn't apply to every place. But I was quite often thinking in the terms of a black sheep. And I never liked that term, black sheep. But yeah, if you think about the black sheep, and I just never liked the term. But I have always been one. I've never really had the same kind of thoughts that many people. I'm not the only one. Of course, I'm not the only one. Nobody's ever the only one. We are not alone. But quite often in whatever group I was in, I was the black sheep. I saw things in a different way. I didn't have that kind of herd mentality, and even though many places I lived in my life, I was surrounded by pure ignorance. I was also lived in many places in my life where I was surrounded by people who were extremely educated. I spent quite a lot of time as a student, undergraduate and graduate school. But yeah, I mean, I was quite often as an when I wasn't in school as a black sheep. When I was, it was still a bit different because I think a lot of it, I'm going to leave it out. I didn't have different views. I really wasn't a black sheep at university, but I think whenever people found out certain things like where, oh, my alarm's going off. Okay, sorry about that. My alarm went off. But yeah, a lot of people judge me from where I grew up, where I had lived certain parts, times of my life. Because, yeah, like I just said, some of those places I had lived in, it's not 100%. In fact, I would say it was less. But, yeah, it was a lot of ignorant people. And I was definitely a black sheep. I just didn't think that same way. And I got more to say about black sheep. But anyway, these protests, of course, as a sociologist, I would, I can't say, of course, one size doesn't fit all. And I would be more of I'm a more like a peaceful protester. Of course, I think that people who are in situations like that should find their voice. And but I also, I watched them, and one of the first things I said to Adam last night, as I was, they happened the night before too, and these fires and buildings burning and stuff. But last night was the night that I really sat down and watched it for hours. As things went on, and I said that, I couldn't see that these protesters, people who were out there, most of them look young, who were out there, I could not imagine that they have I'm going to say this word wrong, accelerants, something to cause that much of a fire, for the fire to be that strong. I don't know much about fires, okay? I really don't. It's not my area of, expertise. But it just didn't look like a fire that could have been started by protesters unless they had something that, like I just said, accelerant to make it get like that. And there were plenty of places, plenty of buildings, too many buildings being burned, and really burning. I just can't see it by, like I said again. Anyway, I was telling Adam that last night, and then today I heard on one of those news channels, they were questioning it. Also, I think that is something. It just wasn't the protesters. It was more, yeah. Okay, like I was saying, pardon me there, but like I was saying, I don't think that it was just protesters. I think that it was more of a group, more of a, what is the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, on the news, what I heard, I don't remember which channel it was. Uh-oh. Cell phone got hot, so I better wrap it up. And my cell phone turned off because of the heat. But yeah, they were saying that basically it was, they felt like it was there was conspiracy theories about who caused all these fires. And I didn't agree so much, but I do think of who they were talking about. I want to see reality. I want to see what is real, what really happened. Anyway, my phone's going to cut itself off again. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Sorry that I didn't finish everything that I was talking about, but I'll discuss it again another day. Talk to you on another video.